The first Monday Night Raw of 2019 took place from Orlando, Florida, and this was a bit of a controversial show because this marked the return of Hulk Hogan, who made his first return to WWE television since he was fired back in 2015. And this show was going head-to-head with the College Football National Championship, so I'm sure the ratings will not be strong at all. Even though the game was a blowout, I don't think anyone was expecting Clemson to destroy Alabama. I think most people were expecting Alabama to win the game, or at least it would be a close game. And if Clemson would win, it would be a close game. I don't think anyone predicted that. A lot of people predicted Alabama would blow out Clemson, so that's a shock seeing that result. And the fact that it was a blowout could help the ratings. I don't think the ratings will be as bad as the previous 2 weeks because WWE did advertise the show with Hulk Hogan on Raw. Whether you like him or not, it's going to definitely generate some interest, maybe in a positive or a negative way, whatever way you want to look at it. He is just there to pay tribute to his late friend, Mean Gene Okerlund. And also the fact that the last 2 weeks were taped, and of course it was Christmas Eve, then it was New Year's Eve. Raw has been unlucky. I mean, the Monday, it's been like rough. The dates Monday has landed on. So I expect a better rating this week, and they definitely had a pretty decent show. I mean, you had a lot happen here, and there was a lot of bad stuff on this show, but it was a noteworthy show. This is not a kind of show that was just a paint-by-the-numbers Raw, or it feels like they're mailing it in. Just a lot happened here, and a lot of it was not good, but a lot did happen. We start off with the Almighty coming out. It's Bobby Lashley. It's just a horrible opener. He's being held back by a number of wrestlers as he wants to fight Seth Rollins. They fight on the stage. They're having a huge battle. And they're finally separated. And then John Cena comes out, and John Cena cuts his shitty promo. And as he's doing that, Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley fight on the stage. And then John Cena announces he's entering the Royal Rumble. And it's weird how they continue to fight. After that, Drew McIntyre comes out, and one thing I was expecting, some people were speculating EC3 would make his debut on the main roster and confront John Cena, kind of like when Chris Jericho made his debut and confronted The Rock. That did not happen here, but I thought it would have been kind of cruel to debut EC3, but they're heavily pushing Drew McIntyre. He's going to be the top guy. I think he's probably going to win the belt at WrestleMania, maybe from Braun Strowman. Maybe Braun beats Brock at the Rumble. John is going back and forth with him, and he talks about how he took out the greats, and him and Drew are ready to fight. And when Drew McIntyre comes to the ring, they had Leo Rush comes out, and then Seth Rollins comes out and starts attacking Bobby Lashley, and eventually this turned into a huge brawl. Finn Balor comes out, and then it's all melee, it's all pandemonium, as the late, great Gorilla Monsoon would say. Eventually, Teddy Long comes out during the commercial break and makes a 6-man tag. I'm just kidding. They just randomly had the 6-man tag. That's what they were going. It's Cena, Balor, and Rollins against Ambrose, McIntyre, and Lashley. The match went on. They had a couple commercial breaks, went on for a while. The first match of the year, basically. This is actually the first WWE show of the year because SmackDown was taped in 2018, basically. If you remember, that was a taped show. So this is actually the first SmackDown or the first WWE show of the new year. They show Triple H talking to Sasha Banks and Bayley on Titantron. It was kind of awkward. I don't know. Like, he was laughing with them. They show Seth Rollins telling Triple H he wants his Intercontinental title. And then Triple H announces it's a false count anywhere match. Rollins flipped out here. He spills Triple H drinks to the ground. He's pissed off. They're doing the same storyline on Raw and SmackDown. So on Raw, it's Triple H and Seth Rollins. Triple H wanting to motivate Seth, and Seth getting angry, almost attacking Triple H. And then on SmackDown, it's the same thing. Vince wants to motivate AJ Styles, and AJ's reacting. He punched Vince in the face. It's the same thing. I don't know where they're building, but I hope it's not like Vince has AJ and Triple H has Seth, and they're just pawns for their rivalry in some kind of power struggle. I hope that's not where we're going here, but I have a feeling that's where we might be headed, even though I clearly have no interest in seeing that. Finally, Hulk Hogan is walking in the back. We go to commercial. He comes out. Before that, to show some the tweets that people were posting in tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund about his death last week. So they do a 10-bell salute for Mean Gene. That was definitely good. And Hulk Hogan comes out, gets good reaction. It was cheers. It wasn't like a major, standing ovation or anything. But some people are on Twitter, I hope Hogan gets booed. Boo Hulk Hogan. Whatever you think of Hogan's what you think of him. I choose to say, remember him as, one of the biggest stars in the history of the company. He made a mistake. I don't condone what he did, but he apologized, and he says he's grown as a person. He's changed, and I'm all for second chances, and I think Hogan, it's more than just that tape. He's done a lot of stuff. I don't think he's, a moral, superior human being than the average person is. He's done a lot of fucked up shit. I'm sure he has, but you know what? The guy, he says he's changed and he apologized. I think I don't have a problem with him being back in the company. He was gone for almost 4 years, so I'm good with it. If you really have a huge problem with it, you don't have to watch the WWE. You don't have to watch Raw. If there's a huge problem with it, if you're so offended by it, there's so many guys on that main roster and previous guys who are celebrated by the WWE who have done a lot worse than Hulk Hogan has. So you can live by the standard you want to live by if you just want to concentrate on that. But there's not just WWE. You can look at anything from the NFL to any other sports league, the NBA, MLB, the UFC. They have some guys, the NHL, anything. You're going to find bad characters, who have done a lot of things, have violated the law, they've broken the law, some of them charged with sexual assault, some of them charged with domestic violence. So, listen, if you really are offended with Hulk Hogan said, I'm not going to say you don't have a right to that. I'm just saying, you can hold him to a certain standard, but if you're really going to feel that way, I think you have to hold everyone to that standard. And with that, you should not be able to watch anything. You should not be able to watch wrestling or any other sort of entertainment because you're always going to find a character. And Hulk Hogan's a bad character in which they've done something wrong. And if you look at everything, Hulk Hogan did not commit a crime. He apologized. He doesn't hold those views now. I don't have a problem with him being back in the WWE. So that's all I'm going to say about this. The more controversy happens, I'm fine with him back. And he talks about, I'm not a big fan of him as a recurring character because he botches everything. But he starts off with a tribute to Mean Gene, and he says, "Let me tell you something, brother." Kind of like how he would always say, "Let me tell you something, Mean Gene." He comes out here in character because that's what Mean Gene wanted. He says Mean Gene loved everyone in WWE and loved entertaining people. And they show a video feature of Mean Gene Okerlund. He talks about how he was one of a kind, and he can speak for everyone who says we loved him. He talks about how the angels are there singing "Tutti Frutti," which is in Mean Gene's, official theme song. He's going to put together a greatest tag team match of all time with the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage against Mr. Perfect and Roddy Piper. He's going to break up a fight between Cruella Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. And then when he says, "What you going to do when Mean Gene runs wild on you?" So it was a really nice tribute. I liked Hogan's tribute. I thought it was fine. It wasn't too long. Hogan's one of those guys. When he talks, he'll mess everything up. But I actually thought this was a very nice tribute, so I liked it. They show Scott Dawson, and there's going to be a whole bunch of lumberjacks around the ring. It's Gable and Rudy against the Revival, so tag titles, and Gable and Rudy retain titles. So I hope we see the Revival in All Elite Wrestling. Let me just say that. Maybe that's where they're headed. Hopefully they go to AEW. Yeah. I hope that's their future. Maybe they feud with the Young Bucks. They show Elias. He's on his guitar. I don't care. I like Elias, but this Baron Corbin Elias stuff is just terrible. And Corbin wins. Nothing for Elias. They show Dean Ambrose in the back. Like, he just has go-away heat with me now. Then we get to probably the worst segment on the show. This was Braun Strowman shitting the bed here. This was his worst work on the main roster, I believe. This was really terrible. They have Paul Heyman coming out. He's on the Titantron, and he's talking about the controversy between Brock and Braun. Braun yells at Brock Lesnar. They're both on the Titantron. This is how it's going. The lines of Braun Strowman here is terrible. This was a horrible segment. This was just embarrassing. It was so bad. It's like they scripted every little thing for Braun Strowman. They made him into this WWE corporate, robot, saying all those scripted lines. Like, Vince McMahon writes for these characters like a 3-year-old's children book. That's how, little depth these characters have. That's how he writes them. Like, he thinks of them as, little children in a children's book and how the character Braun Strowman would be. It's like, it's so terrible. The lines and just, I just thought it was terrible. Braun Strowman's not going to be their guy. It's just not. It's going to be Drew or it's going to be Seth. I think it'll be one of them. I don't think it's Finn. I think it's going to be Drew or Seth as their top guy. They show Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox against Apollo Crews, Ember Moon. Apollo and Ember win. This was fine. Just something to do. Just filling up time. They show Alexa Bliss getting ready for her backstage, or not her backstage, a moment of bliss. And she is just an absolutely gorgeous woman. She is the best looking woman they have. Alexa Bliss is just beautiful, and she's a nice person. Just absolutely gorgeous. How can anyone... I saw that post she made on social media. Supposedly a whole bunch of people are being assholes to her. I don't get it. Why do people hate her? She's a fucking sweet girl. If you follow her on Twitter and Instagram, I can't see why anyone would dislike her. She wants coffee because they're going to do it it's supposed to be... It takes place at night, but I guess it's a daytime talk show. She introduces Ronda Rousey. Ronda comes out. She talks about how she'll reign as champion. She talks about how she wants to find her next opponent. She talks about who's a Cinderella story in Women's Division. This is kind of cool because it's Cinderella. It's like a Disney princess. Alexa Bliss immediately thinks you're talking about herself. I mean, her story is like a princess story. That's what she probably thinks. But instead, Ronda Rousey says she's talking about the boss, Sasha Banks. And this kind of gets Alexa mad. She looks at her strangely. And I think Alexa Bliss is going to return at the Royal Rumble. That's the rumors. She's gearing up for a return. She's taking light bumps in the ring. I expect to see her make a surprise return at the Royal Rumble. Nia Jax comes out, and this is just, terrible. Sasha then comes out. She's honored by his works, and then she talks about she wants to beat Ronda, and then Nia comes out, and it's just the worst segment ever. She botches her line. She says, I'm going to rip your face off now. I'm just going to break your face, you dumb shit. Sasha calls her a bitch. It's horrible. And then finally we have Nia and Sasha. This goes on for a while. Nia Jax is reckless. She almost hurt Sasha Banks so many times. Sasha is so lucky she's not hurt. It would have just ruined another match. They could have had a big match for the Royal Rumble. They could have just, because it's land whale, almost ruined another match. Nia Jax is terrible. Someone supports her backstage. I don't know who it is, but she has someone supporting her. Eventually they have a long match here. Sasha wins. She gets the Banks damage. She's going to lose to Ronda, but this is good for Sasha. This is nice for her. It's a nice moment. She has something there. Maybe Bayley turns on her at the Rumble. I don't think so, but I think her getting that spot with Ronda Rousey is a big plus for her career. She definitely needs it. Main event, Rollins, Ambrose, Falls Count Anywhere. They had Bobby Lashley interfere, so I guess it's Rollins and Lashley feuding still. There was some table spots. It was a fine match. Definitely better than their TLC match. Ambrose gets the win. Lashley destroyed Rollins. He crushed him, and then Ambrose sneaks in, gets the win, and then Lashley slams Rollins through a table.